Hello and welcome to a video with me, Winner Android, where I'm now doing the timeline video for the series I did as the Peru-Bolivian Confederation on the Victorian Era scenario on the MegaMod for Age of History 2, in which, playing as Peru-Bolivian Confederation over here. One thing I'm just going to be saying at the beginning here before I actually start the timeline is that, United Kingdom formed a union with the Kingdom of Hellas. Russia ended up forming the Golden Horde, and there's a few other things like that. It's like the Queen Austrian Empire, because they formed a union during the game. So yeah, there's stuff like that. So it's not entirely accurate like it's supposed to be, but yeah. Go ahead and speed that up to the max there, and yeah. Of course, countries colonizing everything at the very beginning of the game. First thing I do though is, yeah, Brazil. I get both Venezuela and that one to go toward Brazil. And then Ecuador also joins in which prompts me to actually start against the war myself. I was mainly using both of them as a distraction so they would get most of Brazil's army over there so I could go in and take Brazil over myself. Which worked out, as you can see, considering that's all that's left Brazil along with those little bits right there. But, yeah, things are doing pretty well. The United States already lost a war to Britain, and to be honest, that border is actually very nice, which is not very often you see the AI actually create borders like that. And yeah, Mexico and United States toward each other now. Russia took over the Austrian Empire and is now toward the Queen over there. Let's see. What else is going on? I took over Uruguay there. So Argentina's gonna be next. Yep, there we go. I initially got Argentina as a vassal here. That's the reason why I didn't really take tons of land, but they ended up declaring independence because of, well, yeah. Britain went to war with me. So I had to fight that war. Went through and took all these islands in the Caribbean. Got the United States and Mexico to go to war with them, along with Spain and France, if I remember correctly. Went over there, started a little attack over there, and saw how many troops Britain had over here in Africa, and just like, okay, I'm out. And thankfully they accepted peace, which means I managed to get off most of the islands from them in the Caribbean. So I actually technically defeated Britain when I was very small still, and they controlled a large portion of the world. But yeah, finished off what was left of Argentina, dealt with Brazil, and yeah. Of course, next obvious thing is going after them, and then, provinces of Central America, which actually went to war with me first. It actually caught me slightly off guard, considering I wasn't completely ready for that war yet. But yeah, took over that stuff, and because I actually have both Britain at this point, I spent quite a while just building myself up, trying to get stronger, to the point where I feel like I'd actually be able to stand a bit better of a chance in a war against Britain. But, yeah, until then, you just got all these other wars. The Queen has completely fallen, that's all that's really left of them. Russia controls all of that, Iran, a large chunk of Europe. France kind of has a good chunk of Germany right there, to be honest. Got these rebellions over here that just constantly switch around like crazy because of bugs, I guess. But yeah, stuff in Africa's a bit crazy with all the wars that are going on down there between countries. But let's see. Got that country there at war with Korea, taking all that over, and they will eventually end up winning. There you go. And Tokugawa, which basically controlled the entirety of Japan, is now just limited to that little bit of land rights there. And yeah, countries falling apart like crazy over in Africa. Morocco just fell to Sweden. Let's see. I think that Spain and Russia are towards each other. Right there. And also Sweden and Russia now towards each other as well. But I think this is when I finally actually started doing stuff again. And went over here into Africa, starting with this area. Yeah, there we go. Took them over, got these other countries as vassal, and then I'm going to be annexing them. There we go. And then I'm going to be quickly expanding over here, as you can see. Very quickly. Then Madagascar basically finishes all that stuff off there. And then it's basically what's left of Brazil, because apparently Brazil actually did have some land over here when I finished them off, for some reason. They were fighting a war, I think. And they had some land over there when I took over what was left of their country. So I just left them with what lands they had over there from that war, and they ended up getting peace and actually got to keep the lands. But, let's see. Russia took North Africa from Spain, and a good chunk of lands there, I think. I finished off Brazil finally. I got all this over here in the Middle East as well. And, yeah, I'm just going to quickly pause the game right quick, considering I want to slow the speed down here. Because, yeah, something's about to start. Okay, here we go. I have gone to war with Britain. Okay, that's kind of obvious. You just look over there and other areas. I have gone to war with Britain. And yeah, this is the biggest war easily. So, pushing through Mexico and going into Florida after I took over the rest of the islands in the Caribbean there. I quickly dealt with all the stuff over here in Africa for the most part. Egypt and Britain are also at war with each other at this point, I think. Yeah. Also dealt with that stuff over there. Middle East, trying to push through there as well. And things are doing pretty well at the beginning of this. And yeah, starts the invasion in Australia, taking the southern island of New Zealand. But around this point is when things kind of started falling apart a bit, I think. Considering I failed my attack on the northern island over here in New Zealand. This attack is falling apart. The front in Mexico has come to a complete halt. Happiness was so low over here in Western Africa that there's constant rebellions popping up, which results in Britain getting more land back over there, which caused quite a few problems for me. And of course, the stuff in the Middle East is also falling apart on me. Things are still going slightly well over in Australia, but that's quickly going to turn around to the point where I'm literally completely abandon Australia while I try and get everything else under control. Which, yeah, got pushed all the way back into Florida there. Things are really starting to go badly over here in Mexico. And, yeah. Started pushing back over there, and also in the Middle East. Still kind of struggling in Mexico, but that soon turns around right now. Pushing through the Middle East pretty easily still, without too much troubles at this point. And, yeah. There we go. That is the end of that war. A lot was going on there, considering it was easily by far the biggest war. So, took over the stuff in the Middle East there. All of that's in the Americas. Took Australia, New Zealand, all the other islands that are around here. Took that as well. Everything in Africa, because I seriously wanted to kick them out of Africa. And I did also have them go to war with a bunch of other countries go to war with them. So Russia, Spain, and a few others, I think. Like that one there, which I'm pretty sure is the one that actually helped me out the most. Even did more than Russia did. But yeah, that's all that's left of Britain at this point, considering Spain took British Isles itself and a good chunk of India. I also got that little bits in Ireland. But yeah, got all that stuff, and that's all I do. Don't really do much for a while at this point, considering trying to deal with province building and everything. from all that land for a while. But next thing I do is finish off Britain, I think, if I remember correctly. Just go and finish them off completely. But let's see. Spain and South Country are toward each other at this point. There we go. Okay. France is actually back over there still. I have gone toward Britain, finished them off completely now. So I now also have that bit over there in India. And then I kind of just sit around dealing with that after a while and eventually get around to taking over all these other countries over here in the Americas. Finishing all that off. And Spain eventually actually wins this war, I think. If they haven't already. But yeah, Spain got all that stuff there, won that war. There we go. Finished all that stuff off. Got more land over here in Japan at this point. And let's see. Next is Egypt. And they don't really last very long at all. Do I even have to fight a war with them? I honestly don't remember. But yeah, deal with France first because they still had never-ending war with Britain, kind of. So yeah, took that stuff, dealt with them, everything. Got that little bit of lands there and just got the rest of France as a vassal because of, yeah. I don't want a messy border in Europe or there. And then I finally go after Egypt and deal with them, I think. Come on. There we go. And now Spain. And that war doesn't last long at all. Come on. Come on. There we go. Done. Okay, so with all of that, next up is them. Taking them over, and actually no, not going after them first, because they go towards the Netherlands. End up taking that island, so I take the Netherlands first, just so that war is actually over there, and then I will go after them. So that happens eventually. It's gonna be after they take that island there. So yeah, just gotta wait for that, I guess. War started. Slow progress. There we go. This point where I probably realized that they were at war with each other and so I starts going after the Netherlands instead. And then I go toward the Netherlands right about now. There we go. That's the Netherlands done, and then quickly I will be taking them over in an instant. Because they just accepted ultimatum, I think. Yep, there we go. And with that, I have the entirety of Japan and Korea under my control. And all that's actually really left is Russia. So yeah, the war with Russia kind of just was easy. Compared to Britain at least, that's for sure. But that was mainly just due to the fact that I had such a large army at this point. Actually, I want to kind of just point something out. At most, I had 40 million troops throughout this entire game, I think. Which yeah, dealt with Russia there, as you can see. Just dealing with rebellions and stuff, trying to finish all that stuff off. Which takes a little bit to do, because there's such low happiness and everything. But yeah, let's see. Recruited army. That's how many troops I recruited throughout the entire game. 160 million. I don't remember which war with Britain it was, but I did go and attack England itself, going in over here to attack them. And Britain had 120 million troops that was basically just sitting in London. 120 million. Or 140 million. Don't remember which. But there was a ton of troops that Britain just had sitting around in London. Pretty sure it was a second war that happened, so the big one, I guess. Maybe. Not exactly sure. And, yeah, of course that attack completely failed, but that's how many troops Britain had just sitting around in London at one point in the game. I never even recruited that many troops in the first place throughout the entire game. This goes to show how strong Britain really was. Yet I managed to still defeat them, thanks to capitulation system from bloody Europe too. But yeah, that is this video done. Finished the timeline and everything. So yeah, that there is the end of this video. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.